Hello, my name is Fernando Gotes, and I'm right here with my boy,
Nicolás Ramírez.
and we're about to give you a masterclass in marketing, global marketing, right?
So stay tuned.
So, we have three topics that we're going to talk about today. The first one is product service decisions, then we're going to talk a little bit about branding strategies, and last but not least, pricing strategies. So, let's go.
Okay, so we are going to start with product and service decisions. But what is product decisions? Well, product decisions is when a company decides how to meet customers' needs and demand. In this process, you have to take into account the product quality, the quantity that you are going to produce, and the different channels that are going to be able to give the people of the country the best. There are three levels of decisions. The first one is individual product decisions, the second one is product line decisions, and the third one is product mix decisions. Oh, hello! Let's talk about the first one.
Sí, me encanta, me encanta, me encanta. Y eso lo podemos hacer.
Sí, pero nos demoraríamos más y teníamos que saber re bien cómo hacerlo.
Yo le sé. Va a quedar, o sea, lo voy a hacer de la forma más cutre posible.
Voy a hacer como que estoy escalando un edificio. Okay, so with the first one, we have these 5 important factors. The first one is product attributes. Okay, so in this we have to take into account the product quality and the total quality management. Also, we have to take into account the product features and the product style and design. The second one is branding. We have to analyze what is a brand. Well, a brand is a name, a term, a sign, or a symbol. The combination of these can associate your brand with the product or the service that you are offering. The third one is packaging. With the packaging, you are basically designing the package of your product or service. The fourth one is labeling. Basically, the label identifies the product or the service. In this, you can include when was made, who made it, and where was made. The final one is the product support services.
Support service is a service that is provided by companies and that sell like the products, and they offer like certain help for the customers if they have some troubles or some difficulties with the product or the service. Some examples of this product service are the ones offered by Dell or Apple or Microsoft in order to help their customers.
Okay, so now we are going to dig into the second level of product and service decisions, which is product line decision. Okay, but we have to define what is a product line. Well, basically, a product line is a group of products that are closely related and that can be sold to a same group. This group are customers that have the same necessities or are pretty close. Okay, a company can grow the product line in different ways. The first one is product line filling. This includes adding more products to the product line. The second one is product line stretching. Product line stretching occurs when a company lengthens the product line into a different range of products. Okay, to understand this, we have to take an example, a quick example. So I'm going to take Gillette. Gillette have the Mach 3, but Gillette can increase the range of the product line by adding a few items. For example, a shaving cream or an aftershave balm in order to increase this range of the product line. Again, you have to take into account the culture of the country. For example, if you are in Brazil, you can take different cultural items to your product or service. Include these. For example, McDonald's. McDonald's offers different types of meals. For example, the lunch, the almuerzo. They add frijoles, yuca, tajadas, in order to be more inclusive with the culture. And finally, the product mix. The product mix is the shutters. You have to understand that this is the items and the product line, the width, the depth, and the length.
Okay, now we're going to briefly talk about product pricing. Now, you may be wondering, Fernando, what do you mean by product pricing? By product pricing, we refer to all the different strategies that may be used to select the price for a certain object. This is very important in marketing because the value that we can create to certain customers depends on the price more than you may think. As you may see in the long list I've written down here, there are a lot of pricing strategies. However, it's really important that we select the one that is best for our business. Some of the most logical examples of pricing strategies may be competition-based pricing, cost-plus pricing, dynamic pricing, hourly pricing, premium pricing, and geographic pricing. That is the most important for us right now, since we're speaking about global marketing. In order for you to select the pricing strategy that best fits your business, you have to take into account the 7 C's. The 7 C's refer to costs, competitors, customers, cultural differences, channels of distribution, currency rates, and control by the government. Let's go and speak about each one of these in a very brief section. Okay, for costs. It is important for us to take into account that whenever we decide to make a product, we have to pay for things, you know? Like for example, we have to pay for production, packaging, distribution, storage, and a lot of stuff. And for obvious reasons, we cannot make a product that is priced lower than its costs, because we would lose a lot of money. Secondly, competitors. Especially when we're talking international business, it is really important to take into account the prices that our different competitors are taking. First, you have to understand the relationship that you may have with your competitors. For example, if one of your competitors is a top brand that is already situated in the market and has a great reputation, then you might not want to directly compete with that brand. You might go more into a kind of economy type of pricing, or depending on the actual situation that you're involved in. The third C is for customers. Depending on the product you sell, you may have customers that are willing to pay more or to pay less. The fourth C is for cultural differences. Depending on the country you're in, people may be willing to pay more or pay less for the same item. Also, the perception that the brand has in that country may be really different. For example, here in Colombia, Starbucks is marketed as a really luxurious store of coffee, where people go to have, business meetings or something like that. However, the thing is different in the US. In the US, Starbucks is seen as a normal thing, and people are not willing to pay as much as they do here in Colombia for a cup of coffee in Starbucks. The fifth C is, you know it, for channels of distribution. Channels of distributions are really important because there are several different entities that are involved in your supply chain. So you have to take that into account because your prices may go up if you have a lot of problems with that. Currency rates. When we're talking currency rates, we have to take into account the global economy as a whole. If you are, for example, a Chinese man exporting to the US, that's going to be really hard now because dollar is really valuable right now. So you have to really take into account that before you make your prices. Especially if you're importing from the US. Maybe it's not really worth it to import from the US because prices are so high right now. Last and most important when we're talking global pricing, the control by the government. Different governments are going to, well, not only play different tax games, but also have different restrictions that may make you to get a price that is not really that high because, you know, affordability and stuff like that. So you have to take into account that different countries may like to go in and move your prices and stuff. That's not cool. Not cool, man. That's not really cool. So, we're going to quickly review 3 pricing strategies that I myself consider are the most important when we're going to go to a different country or a different global market. The first one that I'm going to talk about is penetration pricing. Penetration pricing refers to when a firm goes into a new business, they want to penetrate the market. They do this by first starting with really low prices that people may maybe afford really easily, and then slowly go up to the real price. We can see that, for example, with McDonald's at the beginning when they launch a new product, their pricing is really cheap, and as the years go by, that same product starts to cost more and more and more until it's really not that cheap. Now we're going to see the economy based pricing. This is when you try to use your costs to see how much does it cost you to actually sell the product and try to sell it for the lowest amount possible, so the bigger amount of people is able to purchase it. And last but not least, this is the opposite of economy pricing. This is the premium pricing strategy. This is when you have a really luxurious product that you would like to, well, sell, and you give it a higher price than it costs you to make it, not only for reputation, but also because some people may think that it is higher quality than it actually is when it has a higher cost. And that's it for product pricing strategies.
Okay, so now we are going to talk about branding strategies. So in order to talk about this, we have to understand what is branding. Well, basically, branding is a marketing practice that helps to differentiate your product or service from another's. Okay, so for like this topic, like we are going to like relate it with international marketing. So with international marketing, you have like different branding strategies. For example, the product strategy. In this, you have to like design a logo, a symbol that differentiate your product or service from another product or services. So make your logo like unique, in order to like let people know that that this is my brand. Or for example, Monster. With Monster like they have the M, so you instantly recognize that is Monster. Next, you have the corporate like branding. In this, you have to like let the people know what is your vision, what are your like a slogan. You can put that in that. For example, Nike. With Nike, you have like the I don't know how to say, like the arrow, the Nike. And in this, you have like the slogan that is just do it. So that is like the corporate branding. So yeah. And next is service branding. So in this, you are like aiming to let the people know how is your service. Like you have to like make your service like stand out from the competition. For example, Chick-fil-A has a really good customer service. So yeah, that's like branding service. And next is co-branding. Well, in co-branding, you are basically seeking to like connect your company with another company, like partnerships that make the two companies grow. For example, I don't know, Doritos and what, I don't know, Doritos and Flaming Hot. That is a perfect example. Like you combine your product with another product and you grow. Next is really important, that is online branding. Well, in online branding, you are seeking to like position your company in a web or in a social media or anything that is like in the internet. So for this, you have an example that often brands seeking to like initiate in another like platform, like for example TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. All of those like platforms help to the company in order to like achieve their goals. As we talk about these branding strategies, it's important to like know how this plays in the real world. So for example, you are a company and you are seeking to like you are a multinational. Let's put that into perspective. You are a multinational
and you are seeking to enter to another country. So you have to identify certain factors of the country. So, for example, the culture, the needs. So, once you analyze these factors, you can implement the branding strategies. So, a perfect example for this is McDonald's. McDonald's identified some needs of the Colombian culture. For example, in the lunches or in the meals, they uh, they add some like ingredients like yuca, plátano, arroz. Many brands or companies have made these strategies, so it's important to know how you are going to do this. So in order to do this, you need to get to know the culture. So that is a perfect example of how you can like use international marketing with branding strategies.